Let's talk about the budget. Briefly, if you kind of want to get into this mix a little bit, let's mix it up a little bit. Take a minute. Terry, we'll go a minute apiece. A quick response if you want. You don't have to, but well, whoever wants to go first. We'll make this a little looser.
Okay, Barry Kukowski, District 2 again. The budget has a lot of different numbers on it, and I'm trying to understand all those different numbers. That can be from 3.4%. I heard today by the it went up 3.4% from last year. The budget did. That's what the department head said today when I was at the meeting. And I see that the budget has gone up as much as 50 to 60, even 70%. There's some numbers out there floating like that. So I know you got to make sure you know where those numbers are at, and I'm just going to make sure, after this discussion, I'll make sure those numbers are more accurate. I'm not sure that one is inaccurate, but I'll have to take a closer look at it, see exactly what I was talking about, and what the newspaper reported, make sure you got the right information when I put it out there. So I want to make sure that's that way.
Okay. Pat Swatsky, District 2. Now, Barry, now you're saying at 50 to 60 to 70% the budget has went up in a year. That is the most ridiculous thing I've heard in my life, okay? I just explained how it went up 2.8% when we went from 2009, 2010, 2011, 12, a total of 2.8. Now next year, there's a 3.4% asked for by the department heads. You take all the wish lists of all the department heads together and you give it to the board and they're asking for 3.4% more. We already cut money off of that very day when you were there. So you know it's lower than 3.4% already because we cut money today when we had the sheriff come in with his budget. That will get whittled down. Okay, so the budget's not going up 3.4% next year. I got another report here. 2010, it's the latest, it's the most recent one the auditor has. They rank counties. Total expenditures, there's 87 counties in the state of Minnesota. Right off the office of the state auditor. Wright County in spending in 2010, 85th out of 87. No, we weren't 87 out of 87, but we're 85 out of 87. That means 84 other counties in the state spend more per capita than Wright County does. I'm proud of that, okay? And I don't like hearing things about 50, 60% increases when it ain't true.
Leonard, do you want to jump in?
No.
You don't have
to. Yeah, you know, as being a disadvantage of not being a commissioner, you do not know the numbers as good as they are. I think we're very fortunate within this county that we do have the ag land, and it has been a really good ag economy. And like someone admitted that in our township, building sites sell for a 5-acre building site goes for $15,000. Okay, 5 acres of farmland goes for $40,000. So it's not an advantage to be a building site seller. But what I'd like to see is that, you know, you all have seen what's happened in the last 3 years, and you still see increases. It kind of irks you that we've all had to cut back on things. I drive a 14-year-old car myself, and hopefully I'll make it home tonight, but we're all in that same boat, and we're all trying to help whatever we can.
Do you want us to introduce ourselves every time, or kind of people?
It's up to you how.
Okay, but anyway, Charlie,
What do you want to do?
District 5. There's a lot of things about the county right now, the county government, that I'm okay with. I mean, I look at my property tax and I look at the county level of it, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it would be nice to be lower, but as I mentioned last night too, there's people in our district and in our county that are losing their jobs, that have had their hours cut back, that are losing their homes, and I think it's time that we do need, and I know we're doing it already, we're looking at these budgets tight, and something that I would maybe take a look at, and I'm not saying this for sure, but maybe do something, you know, it's called zero-based budgeting. Instead of looking at what our budget was last year, to come in and say, you know what, this is a new year, this is a new budget process, let's start from zero, show me what we need. And I'm not sure that that's really dissimilar to what the county, some of the commissioners may do in their heads already. They might go through and say, you know, here's what we need, what we don't. But I do think that we do have a lot of people that are hurting, and I think if the county is continuing on the same track, it's really doesn't set real well with a lot of the taxpayers.
Okay, as far as budgeting at the county level, and I spoke about this last night, until, you can look at the spreadsheets and look at the expenditures and the revenues from the outside, but until the commissioners or myself gets to sit down with the department heads, discuss with them what they're doing, talk to some of the key employees and figure out, do you have enough, do you not have enough? And talk to the human services people, which in a down economy takes a lot more money out of the county. You know, I mentioned that Hennepin County has a much higher per capita rate. Well, a lot of people that don't have money, and this county, of course, does spend more than. I assume Wright County is fairly well off. I don't know. I haven't done the demographics of it. But I can't tell you they're doing a bad job, and of course, Pat's a disadvantage. He's the incumbent, so we're all going to tell you we can do better. I don't know that yet. I can tell you I will look into it, and when the commission convenes in January, I'll start those meetings with the department heads and we'll see where we're at. This budget doesn't belong to me. I'm not going to have input into it. I assume they'll do a good job of it. I think they've done a pretty good job of it, and I think I can improve it.
David Dayon, District 4. When I decided to run for this office, first I met with the local mayors, city administrators, town board chair, to find out what those folks wanted in their jurisdictions. After that, I started meeting with department heads within the county. I went to each one of them and said, tell me about your department. Tell me how you're budgeted, tell me what you're doing. I went to the sheriff's department, found out they have 170 deputies. I thought, man, that's a horrendous amount of deputies. Okay? Then I realized, or was informed, that there are only 3 independent city police forces: Annandale, Howard Lake, and Buffalo. Otherwise, the county is responsible for public safety throughout the entire county. So that brought it into a different perspective entirely for me. Next, I met with the county attorney. Mr. Kelly had a complete PowerPoint that he showed me. And he explained that he has to prosecute every single case within the county.
1 minute.
Okay.
You want to wrap up quickly?
I will. But anyway, I've gone to the department heads. I've asked about their budget. Health and Human Services, I went into and talked to their department head. I assumed that the biggest expense in human services was going to be welfare, child protection, drug, chemical dependency, something like that. Found out that the biggest expenditure is Medicare and Medicaid, taking care of the elderly. And that's 45% of their budget. So all of a sudden, you're looking at a different perspective. And my experience so far from what I've learned is this county is very frugal, and they've done a very good job of getting the job done. And as Pat alluded to already, 85 out of 87 as far as expenditures. To me, I think we're doing a good job. The only thing I see that we can do differently, you're not going to cut taxes because the county's growing. You're going to get more people that are going to want more services. The only thing I think we can do to save ourselves some money is to do it more efficiently.
Okay, let's go back. Ken, I had to cut you off earlier at the beginning of the meeting. Did you want to pose a
How much time do I have?
How about 30 seconds, and we'll try to get a minute apart.
Okay,
a minute apiece.
Mr. Dayon, you expressed.
Wait a minute, did you hear him, Dave?
Mr. Dayon, you expressed that all growth should more or less occur within municipalities so they can provide road, sewer, and water. I tell you what, Mr. Dayon, I live up in a township, and I've seen, we've been property owners in Wright County for 32 years, residents for 25. I've seen a marked increase in traffic going on our county road. Thank you, Pat, great county road, love it, well maintained. But where's that growth, where's that traffic coming from? It's coming from the cities. I think that's a disadvantage. You said that if there's growth in the township, the township roads need improving, the county road needs improving. Rockford Township is not growing. Those roads are getting beat up, not by township residents, but by city residents. Monticello, Buffalo, Hanover, and Rockford. Mr. Krakowski, you stated that growth should occur in cities only. I disagree. Where is the choice that we have as Americans? You, as well as I and my wife, are veterans. We fought for our liberty, and we love liberty. Why can't we have a choice? And who says that we all have to live in a municipality with a 40-watt bulb in some damn apartment like the Romanians did? Why can't all of you, why can't townships reasonably grow like the cities do? One thing I gotta talk to Mr. Burrell about, talk about regulation. I have a neighbor, lives on 10 acres. Her and her husband and children, he has cancer now, he's dying. Their house burned down in March. I ran into her in Minnetonka the other day. She says, I want to rebuild, but somebody, I don't know if it's the county or the state, UBC or whatever it is requiring her to have a boundary survey on her property. I saw the surveyors out there the other day surveying this 10-acre piece that never moved. The irons are there, the corners are still there. She wants to build before her husband dies in her own house, but she has to go through the hoops of getting a damn house survey, or a boundary survey. I think that's ridiculous. And I don't know where this is coming from, but Mr. Wozniak and Mr. Bartels, I thank you all for coming. All of you, I thank you. And Pat, you've done a great job. I hope you're successful in what your endeavor is here. Thank you.
I don't know how to respond to that.
It's more of a
You can go home now, the rest of us gotta stay.
I want to try to get through the questions that people have asked. So, as you've been campaigning, what are the concerns and issues people have been voicing? And who wants to go first? Dave wants to go first. Just a minute. We'll take 2 minutes.
Dave Dayon, District 4. When I decided to run, first thing I did, as I alluded to earlier, I went and talked to the local city administrators, the mayors of the cities in my district. I went to the town board chair of the township in my district, and I said, what are the important issues? The 2 issues they came back to me with are transportation, roads and bridges. They need more. They want to get the roads and bridges improved in the township. And the other one was economic development. Everybody in the cities are looking for ways of bringing in businesses, providing jobs, and keeping the economy in Wright County growing, and trying to keep the dollars in Wright County. If you're working in a city in Wright County, chances are you're going to spend your money there. You're going to buy your gas there, you're going to buy your groceries there. But if you're working outside of the county, that money doesn't necessarily come back to local businesses and stuff. So those were the concerns that I heard from those people, and that's what I'm basing my campaign on.
Okay, District 2, Barry Kukowski. The biggest thing I hear is taxes are too high and property values are going down. And it's really getting difficult for people to make ends meet with those 2 issues going on. So we've got to do whatever we can do at the budget, at the county level, to reduce the taxes that are being sent out instead of increasing the taxes at this level. So I would go back to those county heads and say, give me a 10% reduction on the budget before you show up. Maybe he's done that, I don't know that, I haven't heard that, but that's what I would do, and I'd say bring those taxes down, bring that budget down, and let's get these taxes back down, and let's show the people that we can do something for them while they're going through tough economic times. And also cut down some of these requirements that are being put out by planning and zoning and other issues that are out there that are making it difficult for people to do stuff with their own property. It's such a requirement that there's so many requirements on their property they can't do stuff with it. And I think that's a difficult issue too. So those are a couple issues I've heard.
Pat Swatsky, District 2. Ken, it may have been the title company that asked for those boundaries, because I have a neighbor that just sold the house. The house had been there 50 years, and it was their title company that required them. So if there was anything to do with a mortgage or anything like that there, it very possibly could have been the title company that required that. But if it was Wright County, I guess I'd be surprised, and I want to know about that, because I agree that is not right. What I'm hearing, I hear concerns about the economy and people being able to afford things and affordability, and yes, that comes down to taxes. You know, earlier, I got after Barry here because I get I get emotional when people start talking about the county spending too much money. When I've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort over there at the county working to be fiscally conservative, and when people throw out numbers that they just grab out of the air, I get upset about that. So I apologize if I got a little too worked up, but you know,